Hello everyone, my name is Shona, and today I will be your tutor, and we are going to learn Photoshop's interface and learn how to customize your workspace. So, let's get started.
So if I go over here, this is your toolbar. This is where the hand tool, the rectangle tool, path selection tool, the move tool, the lasso tools, and the marquee selection tools. They're all over here. We'll go over these. Here's your brush tool. We'll go over these in a little bit. And at the top, you have your home button. This will take you back to the screen I showed you before. Right next to it, you have the brush settings, but this is tool set settings, but you don't see anything yet. It's fine. Brush settings is here. I'm going to expand that a little bit. And settings are over there. And the rest of the toolbar, your opacity for your brushes, your flow, your smoothing, and I'm going to turn one of these on, both of these on. And this is your symmetry, but we'll go over all of these in a little bit. And over here you have your layers, properties, and colors and swatches. Okay, so let's work on compacting this. But before that, before I forget, in this little corner here, you're gonna press the little arrow tool, and that shows you like the different workspaces. If I go to, right now we're in Essentials. If I go to 3D, your options have changed. Yes, I know Photoshop no longer has 3D capabilities because they're mean. uh, okay, so I had to pause for a second because the 3D really tread of what is in the later Photoshops. For some reason it just goes on haywire when you go to 3D, so just ignore that. Graphics and web is the one I just changed it to, and just in case if you can't really select here, it's fine. You can go over to window and you can go workspace and you can change it here as well. It wasn't allowing me to sorry about that. It wasn't allowing me to select here, so I just did it from the menu. Motion, see it added the timeline at the bottom, and painting. It also changed the workspace again, and photography. Okay, so they have different like workspaces, but like I said, I just make my workspace how I like it. So let's go ahead and modify our workspace. So I'm going to go to Edit, scroll down to Preferences, hit General for now. Okay, so it's going to go to Interface. I prefer my Photoshop to be a lot darker. Even like Clip Studio, I make it darker than this as well because I don't like it to be too bright. Like it just hurts. This just hurts my eyes. I can't. So we go there, and secondly we're gonna go to Tools, and I put Zoom with Scroll Wheel. I like this. Press OK. We're done. We're done. I like this because I can use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out rather than go Control or Command plus keyboard sign and Control or Command subtraction, and that usually zooms in and out. Control 0 or Command 0 puts it back in, it fits it to the screen. So I like to use the scroll wheel. It's a little bit faster than using, two keyboards to do that, because if I put a little shape right here or one right here, I can zoom into this one and zoom into this section by just putting my mouse over there. Okay. So secondly, let's go on over here. So this first one right here, this is your history. I usually push this all the way down to the bottom there. You can see it there. This is new. Comments. I don't use this. I've never had to use it, and I don't think it's necessary, so we're going to take it out and we're going to close it. Not to worry, if you go back to Window, pretty sure you can see it here. Okay? Everything has its place, so don't worry if you're just like, oh no, I can't delete that. If you scroll down here, this is a duplicate slate. That duplicates what you just made here, your canvas. It duplicates it, but I don't need to. No, do not save it. But let's say if I'm doing some work and I want to save a point. So let me go back to here. I'm going to take a snapshot. And look, it made it right there. So if I go here, it's there, or it's here. I can jump between the two. Isn't that nice? So let's say I have like a point in my artwork that I don't want to lose, or I don't want anything. I want to go back to it if I'm not sure about something. I can take a snapshot of where it is, and then I can continue. And then if I don't like it, I can go back to that point and then continue from there again. So that's pretty useful, but I don't need it, so let's delete. Back to Juju. Underneath it is my brush settings. Now they've included this because before they did not. 2020. So this is super important. Your brush settings right here. I'm going to bring my tablet out. You can show you the difference between the two. So here you go. So this allows you to do various things with your stuff. Ha 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 ha. That you don't typically get if I was to just right click and get my brush settings out. You can only do changing the shape of the brush. You can't really do all the extra stuff, and so that's why having your brush settings option over here in the corner is super important. Okay, so let me put it back. I don't need this. Shape dynamics. Let's go. Okay, I want it. Give it back. Thank you. Aha, there's my fade. So that's what that does. Okay, moving on. Next to it, we have color. I'm going to go over to the corner over here, and I'm going to change this to color wheel. I just prefer the color wheel. Here's your swatches. This is typically underneath Procreate's color swatch selection or color selection. These are gradients. Typically I don't usually keep this up here, so I'm going to get rid of that. And also patterns. I never use patterns. I'm going to get rid of them too. If you want to get back your gradients, if you just go to the toolbar over here, gradient tool, and then you select the actual gradient here, it's just like, there's it at. It's right there. And classic gradient. There it is. My gradient editor just popped out. Foreground and background, and you can change the colors here at your discretion, color selection wise, and you can change them here, move it back and forth, do all that lovely stuff that you do with gradients. Okay, so that's what you're going to use that for. Let me get rid of this unsightly stuff. There we go. Okay. Swatches, I tend to keep these because sometimes it's nice to save the swatches that you've used already. So I just save them, and you can also just add your swatch right there. See? They'll just show up under there, no problem. But typically, I don't usually use these. Never had to use this, so I'm going to get rid of this. Libraries is another thing that I've never used, even though it is available. I'd never use it, but if you're going to do graphic arts or anything with motion graphics or things like that, Adobe does have libraries. I think they have the AI one now too, so you can actually search for stuff and put it in, but I don't use it, so I get rid of it. It's just, we're getting rid of all that bloat. You don't need that. Adjustment layers are super important, so I leave these alone. This is when you want to adjust like the hue and saturation, the brightness, the contrast, all of those. They're available right there for convenience. You can also find them under image and adjustments. They're all there as well, but just for convenience sake, it's right there. So what we're going to do is the most important one is layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out and we're going to just drag it up top there. Ta-da! I'm going to extend this down the same way I did to the history because those two are the most important. I'm going to take the channels and we're going to put it right next to that one because this one's important as well. You don't know right now, but it is quite important. It changes the channels. There's also an option to put an alpha channel in there too. Super important. And in paths control, when you use the pen tool, and so that is what that's for. So after that, I'm going to put the adjustments underneath the brushes settings, and in the color and the swatches, I'm going to pluck this out too, and I'm going to put the swatches underneath, and then I'm going to drag this bad boy in between the history and the layers, and you'll know you do it because you can see it right there. And then the swatches is underneath. Actually, I'm going to put it right next to each other. Come out. And if I want to get it back, I can press this little arrow at the top. It'll expand it so I can see it. Thank you. Color and swatches. Put it back in. So now I have a nice compact view. I don't like this thing here. This is a new addition to Photoshop, and I'm not fond of it. So go away. Turn it off. It gets very distracting when you're trying to work. You don't know it right now, but it does gets very distracting. So I just get rid of it. So here we have our layers in our spots where we need them to be. So what is that? And it doesn't interfere with what I'm doing. Another shortcut which is pretty cool, if I press F on the keyboard, it shortens it even more, gets rid of all the excess bloat, and I kind of have a semi-full screen, full screen canvas that I can play around with. I have to remind myself that it is not Clip Studio, so I have to use the correct settings in order to move. Some keyboard shortcuts, that's super important. You're going to use Control or Command a lot, and Alt is the shortcut for the color picker, or Option in Mac. And Spacebar is your hand tool to move around. Super important. So you don't, unless you have a tablet that allows you touch, you don't typically use your use those tools that you usually like the shortcuts to undo and things like that. You don't typically have that in Photoshop. It's just a computer. If you go to edit as well, you see undo brush tool and toggle last state. So that's Alt Control Z or Option Command and Z, and that allows you to go further back. This is why you have like limited undos. This is why I had the history just there, so I can just do that and go back to where I need, because it doesn't allow you to go back, at least not intuitively as it used to. And then if I press F, it goes completely full screen. Yay. And if I go back to F again, it goes right back to normal.
Okay, I hope you could follow along. The next topic will be about inserting photos in Photoshop. I hope it helps. See you on the next one. Bye!